Big round of applause, everybody, for Felicia Romero.
Thank you, Mike. I was going to choose Biggie, but Mike didn't allow me to do that, so I settled with Katy Perry, next best thing. And I just realized that I'm not going to turn around at all, but I have a tag on my skirt, and no, I'm not going to take it back after this talk today. I know a lot of you ladies know what I'm talking about. I actually like the skirt, so I'm going to keep it. So when we think about PR, a lot of people, first of all, thank you, Mike, for having me out here. So excited to talk about something that I'm so passionate about, which is PR, because I feel like a lot of people, especially in the gym industry, are afraid of it. So who here thinks that they have to have a big following or be well-known in order to be on TV? Who thinks this? Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people have that in their head, that they feel like they need to be well-known, they need to be famous, they need to have a big following in order to be on the news. And I'm here to tell you that that's absolutely false. And I'm going to teach you today all of the things that I did, because we all have to start somewhere. I'm going to give you my background story, but we all have to start somewhere. So if you have the right tools, resources, tips, tricks in place, I can help you get there. Okay, so be your own PR. Okay. So I've been on NBC, Fox, CBS, and ABC, all in the same week, all talking about different things. So if you are pitching these stories, obviously you don't want to pitch the same story to all the different networks. I'm going to teach you that as well. So today, I'm exposing all of my secrets on how I landed a TV spot. And no, you don't need a huge following or be well known. And I'm going to teach you how to network and create relationships with news organizations, because I think that is the most important thing, creating relationships. And I know Mike had mentioned that's what I do. I create relationships, partnerships, they trust me, I'm reliable, and I get the job done. So what do you think this creates? When you are on TV, you're on a TV spot, what do you think that will create for you and your business? Anybody? Exposure? Credibility? Yeah, absolutely. So first off, credibility. When people see that, they think, wow, they must be an authority in their field. They're getting on the news. They want to, they're going to be seen well. They're going to be seen all over the local news. They're going to be well known. They're authority in their field. And thirdly, ads for social media. Now, we don't want to just get on TV to get on TV, even though it's fun. It's fun to go on. It's fun to have the exposure. People recognize you, whatever. You want to be able to actually create revenue from this as well, because we don't want to just be on TV. We want to be able to use that to create ads, which in turn is going to have more members. You're going to have more clients, which equals more money. It's really interesting. I've traveled with Mike quite a bit to different conferences and things like that. And last year we went to a conference with Mark Lack and Billie Jean spoke, and it was really neat because he's all about marketing, and he took a guy that was really struggling in his business. I mean, he wasn't really sending up many members, and he was going to do a marketing campaign for him. He happened to be on TV once. He took that segment, created an ad with it. Within that week, he created hundreds and hundreds of leads for him because he was seen as an authority in his field. So it can create an amazing amount of exposure for you. So who am I? So the start of my journey, went to ASU, go Devils. Any U of A fans here? Woo! U of A? Yeah. Leave now. So I was studying political science when I started training people, and I fell in love with it. So I was studying law, I took my LSAT for law school. I was gonna go down a completely different road than fitness. I'm sure many of you here might have been doing something else before getting involved in fitness. I knew I wanted to help people when I was 21, and I started training people to, make a living. I was going to college, and I've always been a hustler, so I needed to create my own schedule, and I got certified, started training people, but I fell in love with it. And I was one of those that was literally charging $15 for the hour. Didn't know what I was doing, I just knew that I loved it. And I know we all, probably a lot of trainers here started that way. So then I got a master's in exercise and wellness, continued my education, and I opened up my first gym when I was 22. Right out of my home. I had my house built, I extended the garage on each side, and I just started training people right out of my house. It grew within that first year, so then I had to go to my first storefront. I knew that for me, I could not continue that that one-on-one training forever. I knew I needed to grow. So then I got my first storefront. Second gym was bigger, better. Had the trainers, had all of that. Again, sold my portion of that business because, again, I knew I didn't want to train people the rest of my life and one-on-one because obviously time, and I wanted to think bigger. So I opened up a third gym, which was a boutique membership gym that I just sold last October. An interesting story, which I'll preface this with Mike. He's been an amazing mentor. So I first met him a couple years ago. It was on the GSD show, right? Probably like 2016 maybe. So last January, January 2017, he started challenging me. He was my first real mentor, which if you don't have a mentor, I highly suggest you get one because they force you to do things that make you uncomfortable. So it's really funny because, so January 2017, he said, Felicia, I want you to start writing your goals down every single day, your 5 top goals, and I want you to post it on Snapchat. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, put it out into the world. I don't know if I can do that. He's like, I want you to do it every single day. So my number one, I was always afraid of money. I know a lot of trainers have a hard time around the money situation because we're afraid of it. We're afraid to ask what we're worth and things like that. And so I knew that I wanted to make 30 grand a month. And he said, put it down. I said, really? You want me to put that out there? He's like, yes. I said, okay. Number 2 was pertaining to my gym at the time. Number 3 was pertaining to my gym at the time. Number 4 was to get a cover of a magazine. I had already been on covers by then, but I was already out of the game about 2 years. Wasn't in that sort of shape, the competition shape, things like that. And I wanted to prove to myself that I could still do it without having to get in that sort of shape. And then number 5 was find a life partner, a love. And he's like, well, I don't know if I would put that out there. You might as well keep that to yourself, right to the side, just don't put it out there. I was like, all right. So I did that each and every day, starting in January of 2017. And there's a point to this story because it's going to kind of come full circle. So April of 2017, got my 8th magazine cover, Scottsdale Health, put it out in the universe. I didn't even actively try to go get that or make those sort of networks or whatever. It just sort of fallen on my lap. Right place at the right time. Number 2 was to create $30,000 a month in revenue. And that has happened now a year later. I sold Fit Method, had a gym at the time, and I fully launched into online training. So when I owned a gym, you get paid last, as a lot of you know. And I was making maybe $5,000 to $6,000 a month. And I was okay with that. The first year, didn't take a salary. And it wasn't even about the financial, because I wasn't where I wanted to be. It was because I had this goal, and I wanted to help others. I want to help my family, things like that. So February of 2018, I hit my first $28,000 a month in online trading. So now I've created a 6-figure income taking action. So he forced me to write that down each and every day, even though it took a year to get there, but I got there. And then found my life partner. We talked about engagement. We're not engaged yet. At least he doesn't know it. But we've been together a year, and he was my high school sweetheart. We reconnected. So 3 out of those 5 goals happened because I put it out in the universe. Mike forced me to do that, and he forced me to level up, which is what he does. He gets shit done, and that's the importance of having a mentor. So moving on. So I also started competing. All of this, I don't know if you're familiar with competitions, fitness competitions, figure competitions. I competed in the IFBB, which is think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, things like that. So at one point I was top 4 in the world in my career. This was at the Olympia. I landed a few covers throughout my career. My very first one, Muscle and Fitness Hers. This was 2007. A couple weeks after I turned pro, again, right place at the right time. I am a firm believer that action in your life creates momentum, creates opportunity. If I never took action to do the things that made me, that I was afraid of, like getting on a stage, I was so shy in high school. Even being on stage, the biggest stage I'd ever spoke to was about 50,000 people in the Philippines. I was scared out of my mind, but I knew I had to do it because I was always so fearful of talking to people. So this one, I just right place, right time. So action creates momentum, creates opportunity. This one here, the photographer, is actually in the room, Sarah Lyons. There she is. So she took that photo. Oxygen, twice. Flex Magazine swimsuit issue, twice. Muscle and Performance. And my latest one, Scottsdale Health. And that was last year. So yeah, and it's awesome for me because I have different bodies in all of them. And the last one means the most to me because I did it on my terms. No one was forcing me to look a certain way. No one was forcing or telling me that, hey, you're not ready. The one right before that, the muscle and Performance cover. Before that cover, when I went out to shoot for that, the photographer told me, this one, that I wasn't ready. That we cannot have you on the cover because I don't want you to display yourself like this. And it was really hard for me as a female. Luckily, I had thick skin to hear that because, you know, I felt great. Even though I was struggling with thyroid, things like that, I felt good in my skin. But to know that they didn't think I was good enough. So like, we're gonna give you 4 more weeks to get ready, come back, and can you open this for me? Come back, and we want you on the cover, just, you know, be a little tighter. So I went back, didn't do any extreme dieting, nothing like that, because I don't believe in that. And went back, shot for the cover, made small changes, but decided not to show my front, which was my stomach. And that's why you see the back there. So the fitness industry can be tough, for sure. So that one I'm most proud of because I didn't have to like shoot under any guideline. I was comfortable in my skin. I didn't have to become extremely thin or emaciated or lean. It was curvy, and that's the one I'm most proud of. So landed a few TV spots, Fox. Now most of these TV spots I'm showing you here are all ideas that I pitched to the networks. None of these are where they reached out to me, which I do get that quite a bit. I was on 2 days ago talking about dad bods, and they reached out to me because they needed a quick segment. Most of these are all segments that I reached out to. Halloween. So the thing is, you have to be persistent with these news organizations in order to be on television, in order for them to use your stories. And I'm going to show you how to get those stories today as well. So you see at all different news stations, ABC, Channel 3. And I think it's important to see this, especially learning from someone that's doing it and doing it now, because I can teach you how to do this. I can guarantee that there's going to be one of you in here that applies the tools that I show you, that you'll be able to land a TV spot in the next 30 days. This was Shape Magazine, my first ever, this was just actually a couple months ago, my first ever mainstream magazine. And again, I reached out to them, pitched a story. And then Strong Magazine, I'm holding an article there. My first publication, I wrote it in first person about my experience on Fit to Fat to Fit, which was a reality show that I was on, aired in January. So how did I do it? Okay, so 2012, I had a client that lost a ton of weight. Her husband just happened to be a photographer for Fox. So she had a great weight loss story. I knew her husband was a photographer for Fox, and obviously they weren't gonna come to me saying, oh, we wanna highlight what you're doing. I had to create the segment and the story and pitch it to them, and they did. So I was like, okay, awesome. Networking is great, but you have to go out and take action steps with ideas, something to offer, and persistence. So the awesome example of this is Mike. So again, I've been to a couple of conferences with him, and the first conference I ever went to with him was a conference called Thrive, and I thought we would just go there, sit in the back of the room, take notes, and he literally gets there, he is like working the room. I can't even keep up with him. How do you think Mike is able to get interviews like Lewis Howes or Grant Cardone? I mean, he could be a strikingly good looks. Persistent. Because he's persistent, he takes action, and he meets people. Because everybody, they're all people. The anchors, the journalists, the news, producers, we're all just people. So he goes out and talks to them, creates relationships, gets that trust, and it's more than just going and talking and wanting something. You have to be authentic. You can't always assume that they're going to obviously give you what you want. You have to actually create authentic relationships, which is what he does. He's the perfect example of that. I've never seen anybody work a room. I was exhausted at the end of the weekend. And I met tons of people, got numbers, things that really pulled me out of my comfort zone that he does all the time. And that's why he's so successful at what he does. So network, network, network. Use social media to your advantage. So again, we are all just people. I can get on my phone right now, start following people, start engaging and interacting, which is what I'm going to have you do today. Start following, engaging with photographers, anchors, producers, journalists. It's very, very easy. A lot of the Fox 10, if you go to Fox 10, let's say on Twitter, what will pop up is who do you know or who to follow, and it'll just, all of the TV and journalists will pop up as well. Most of those journalists have contact information right in their bio profile. Reach out to them, send them a message, retweet, comment on something they post, create those relationships. Be authentic in your approach. Don't just say, oh, that's awesome, or actually have like something nice to say or something that's thoughtful about whatever they're posting to create those relationships. And pitch ideas. So this is super important to pitch ideas because you have to have something to offer, because these news organizations are always looking for news, always the next best thing. So Halloween, eat this, not that. This is time sensitive, so I pitched it that week of Halloween. I was on that week. Exercises to boost productivity at work. So this was a current event. I happened to see something on the news about productivity at work and how people are not being productive and they're tired and they have back pain and all of that. Pitched the idea. They had me on that week. Fitness trends, intermittent fasting. So what's going on in the world? What's going on in fitness? What are people talking about? It's okay to talk about the trends. Don't be afraid of it. I know sometimes as fitness professionals, we're so concerned about what our colleagues are doing or what our colleagues are going to think about what we're doing. We're not doing it for our colleagues. We're doing it for the people that need it, the end game, the people who are actually looking into this. Who cares what your colleagues think? Fun ways to keep kids moving in the summer. This was another one that I pitched. So coming up with ideas. Look up current events. This one's really, really awesome because there's always an awareness month each month. And the awesome thing about this is news organizations are always looking for something to talk about that subject. If you come ready with ideas, Heart Awareness Month, I know September is Childhood Obesity Month, I always do something that month. Always make sure you have something ready and you're ready to pitch it, ready to go, especially too with all the relationships that you're going to be creating. When you land a TV spot, have ideas ready. Example, I booked a segment on kettlebells. She came to my gym. We were doing kettlebells. I just so happened to have 5 more ideas for her. I was able to land 3 more months of segments with that same news anchor. Right place at the right time. Being on with one anchor or a network will allow you to meet other anchors. So again, this goes back to action. Action creates momentum, creates opportunity. So if you are in the position to meet these people or talk about these ideas, it's going to create more momentum to get more opportunity. So example, I was shooting another live segment with another anchor, Scott Passmore, and then he's like, hey, can you do something real quick? I'm sure. He's like, I need a fitness professional to review this fitness box. Are you available? Absolutely. So then, again, right place at the right time. So once you land your TV spots, you want to create ad around that exposure, okay? So, like I said before, you don't want to just be on TV just to be on TV. You have to create that exposure for your business to be able to create more income. So use your TV spots to your advantage. And I think Mike can do this too, so if you're going to be learning about like ClickFunnels and lead generation and things like that, having these ads help tremendously. It has created so much business for me using all of the different ad spots that I've had, or the TV spots that I've had, to create awesome ads. That intermittent fasting, I mean, I created an ad with that, especially around the new year, because there was this huge rage about intermittent fasting to get people, obviously, to contact me. And I don't even really, it's not like I sell intermittent fasting, but it was just to kind of get them in, get us talking, okay? So print media, do you have a story, a transformation, maybe a weight loss, like a client that's had a huge weight loss. I had a client, Manny, who I worked with. He was 320 when we started. A year and a half later, he got down to 175. Had a huge story with Fox 10 on it. And that's what you want to do. You want to highlight those people, highlight those clients that you worked with, or maybe something's going on in your gym that you want to get the news out for. Okay? Again, Shape Magazine, I reached out to them. I made that happen. They did not reach out to me. I was persistent in what I was doing, persistent in reaching out, persistent with ideas. They bid. Same thing with Strong Magazine. So your action steps after today, what I want you to do that's going to help you in the next 30 days land a TV spot is come up with pitching ideas, 5 pitching ideas, and 5 ideas based on current events. The reason you want to come up with 5 ideas based on current events is because there's an urgency around it. So, example, red carpet arms, the Oscars, they know they have to get you in before the Oscars, okay? Or maybe the day after the Oscars. Super Bowl snacks, Halloween, things like that. Number 1, I guess it's backwards. Okay, number 1, start following news anchors, photographers, producers, journalists, reporters, and editors each week. And start engaging, commenting, and making connections. True, authentic connections. I have friendships now with a lot of these anchors and journalists, and I know they know that they can count on me if they need a quick story right away. So again, that is your action step, is to start following these anchors in your local town if you're not from here. I can probably guarantee anyone here locally, Javier Soto on News Channel 3, always looking for ideas for gyms. So if you have an idea for your gym and you want to do a motivational Monday, reach out to him. I've reached out to him many times referring my friends or people that own gyms saying, hey, you gotta go check out that gym and do a story. Because that's what it's all about. You know, like how many times can I be on the news before people are like, okay, Felicia, like let other people, you know what I mean? Like I don't need all of that. The key is to just give back and let, you know, everybody has something to give, okay? And be persistent. You are gonna get a lot of no's, and do not let that discourage you. I guarantee those first couple no's you get, you just kind of like, oh, well, it's probably not for me. No, do not give up. Do not give up. Be persistent in everything that you do, especially with PR. And then, here's an example of a press release that, for those of you that may not know how to write one or might need an example of one, this is a real one that we did for Fit Method. And yes, we did do Magic Mike Comes to Gilbert. So it was pretty funny. You have to sort of think outside the box when it comes to fitness and what's going to get the news organization out to your gym. Do you have something different to offer? I know a lot of you have talked about, hey, what do you have that's different? So Magic Mike was coming out. The big premiere was like this huge big thing. And so I thought, okay, what about if we did like a Magic Mike bikini boot camp at Fit Method? So we had like a real male review, come out and teach the class. And the news came out, it was big fun, we got tons of exposure, we had tons of ladies come out. Remember, we signed up tons of people that day because we just thought of something different. It was fun, we made fitness fun. It doesn't always have to be so serious. And people were laughing. So this is an example of a press release. You have your logo, you have the date, immediate release. This is something that maybe a producer might ask for if you're not familiar. You want to do the what, where it's going to be, when, where, and like a quick little what's going to happen there in that little time. So you want to get quick and to the point. Contact info that can easily be contacted, and this would go to like a producer or someone that asked for it. And if you need help, so a lot of you might be at that level where you can afford a publicist or a PR person. She's awesome, Katie Snyder. She is here local. She's an amazing publicist. She does free consultations if you need help. Very affordable. And she can not only get you on TV a lot, she can get you print media, she can get you in the newspaper, she can get you in things like Entrepreneur Magazine, things like that. So she's really, really good at what she does if you wanted to go that route as well. So thanks, guys. Yeah, do any of you guys have any questions? Anybody about PR? Yep.
I noticed that in your pictures you weren't necessarily wearing your gym's brand. You were wearing this really pretty athletic clothes. Mm-hmm. Was there a particular reason you weren't branded in those segments?
Yeah, sometimes the news organizations are a little bit tricky about that. So sometimes they won't allow you. You know, if the segment is, if I'm going in there talking about something, you know, I can't go there associated with something, or I can't try to sell something, and sometimes they're really picky about that. So sometimes they'll tell me, look, you can't wear this brand, or you can't promote this, or I'll have to sign a release form that I'm not associated with this company. So sometimes they're a little tricky about that. But many times if they're coming to my gym or studio, I definitely would wear the logo or the brand and things like that. And that's another thing that I really struggle. That's a really good question. That's another thing I really struggled with when I had my gym, because I know a lot of you here are gym owners, and I got to a place where I had a gym for 15 years or was in that gym space for 15 years that it didn't serve my higher purpose. I was stressed all the time. And I know we talked a lot about strengths and weaknesses here, and for me, my strengths are, I thrive in helping people. That's where I knew my passion was. And as a business owner, I heard so many familiar stories here of things that I went through. You're spread so thin, and you're so stressed, you always kind of put yourself last. I had a hard time delegating, I had a hard time finding the right people, and I did get Fit Method to a place of profit, and it was awesome. And I was so proud that I was able to help build something with a team that was profitable, and it was fun, but I was also so stressed, and I wasn't living my best self. And I went on a retreat last year, an actual vacation to Thailand, and I was like, what am I doing? If I'm not happy each and every day, if I feel like this is just something that, I'm trying to get through the day, I'm just so stressed out of my mind, I'm working, 16 hours a day, and then I get home and work even more, and then I took things really personally too, so it was hard because you have a staff, and if you lose somebody, oh, what happened? Or if you're losing members, what am I doing wrong? And you take it personally, and I had a really hard time with that. So for me to kind of make that step and take that step, I had a hard time, the whole brand of Felicia, and then the brand of Fit Method, or whatever gym I had. So I had a really hard time differentiating between that. And Mike really tried to help with that as well, and one of the reasons why he was an awesome mentor, he really, really helped with that. But because he really wanted me to push my brand, Felicia Romero brand, and he saw, for me, more value in that, but I also think he saw through me. He saw that I was not happy where I was at. I was not happy at the gym. So that's when I decided to make the move, which I'm happy I did. At the end of the day, you have to be happy with your decisions. So, yeah. Any more questions? Up here, yeah.
So we've done a little bit of TV in the Twin Cities area last year and early this year, but it was more of a sponsorship kind of thing with the local, one of the daytime shows. A couple of questions. So were those paid or unpaid?
I've never paid.
Okay, and number two, what time frame of the day? So we were on 3 to 4 in the afternoon.
Okay. They all range. I would say I'm mainly in the morning. So during the weekday, anywhere between 8 and 9, or most of those segments. A couple of them are afternoon segments, so they'll maybe run in the morning and then again at night. Typically with an NBC would be in the afternoon, a Fox or ABC, News Channel 3 are usually the morning shows. Never paid for a segment. But yeah, usually those are, and that's why another thing why, the branding is sometimes specific, because they get a little bit tricky about that. So, but yeah, usually the morning time.
Did you find that morning or afternoon, any particular time frame was better for exposure?
Yeah, I feel like morning was good, especially for the moms. You get a different clientele. But the couple times that I have been on the afternoon, there has been a good reaction with that. I would say morning. You get that morning crowd, especially those moms, stay-at-home moms that are catching the news, things like that. Yeah.
I just had a question. We've done some segments on Fox, and the producers, I've never thought of using them for an ad, and I thought you had to get permission, or there's some rules around being able to use the segments. I've never used them for anything.
No, you can totally do that. So you can actually, I can forward you a number to a company that actually, you pay for it. You can pay for your segment. They typically run from $100 to $300. So you get the raw file, and you can just get those raw files and you have them forever. Because a lot of times when they're on their website, it's only on there for a period of time. And sometimes I was taking my phone and trying to film my TV, and the quality of that. So you can actually get those segments. You pay for them, but you can actually get them.
We, in our situation, because we were paying for those segments, immediately after the segment was done, I got an email with a link to download it. And then we have 18 locations in the Twin Cities, so then I would mail that or email that out so everybody could download it. We were immediately putting it on our Facebook pages and wherever else we could put it. But there were some restrictions. Like I couldn't give that to, I think something around, you know, the geography, it had to stay in the Twin Cities kind of thing. But we could pay extra to get to even to broaden that. So
Yeah,
just
they've,
gotta check that.
they've sent me the segments before, I just didn't think it could be used then for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely can, especially on Facebook.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool, all right, guys, we have to, oh, I'll let you go.
Do you have to be a certified trainer or have a degree or something before you actually launch your ideas?
Yeah, I'll just be honest, like no one's ever asked me, do you have a certification? Or, you know, I've only been asked once by actually a current client that I have to stop, I do all the time. What, do you have, you know, she actually asked me what my degree was in, and she would only work with people who had a degree in that, because I'm a lot of experience as well. And I'm thankful for my degrees, but I've never been asked that, no.
Not like underneath your name where it puts like certified trainer or steady.
It just depends on what you want your handle to be. A lot of times when a lot of these news organizations reach out, they're like, okay, what do you want us to put as your handle? And, you know, usually it's like, you know, fitness entrepreneur, or, you know, fitness personality, or whatever you want it to be, really, is how you want to be identified as. But no, I've never been asked the question. Yeah, but that's a good question. Yeah.
Cool. All right, thank you guys. Felicia Romero.